Hello, everyone. Welcome to the book club. Debbie, it's on my Facebook page and Instagram. Let me put it in the chat here. Today we are talking about chapter 6. I'm going to copy it and then send it to you. Just put it in the chat and see if that works, Debbie. See if you can grab it from there. Chapter 6 of, I don't know if this will work, Debbie, but try it. If not, let me know. Chapter 6 of Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. Welcome in, welcome in. I just want to read this first paragraph. I read it last night in my live stream, and I thought this is a great way to start book club today. It's breaking free. Last time we talked about the pain body and how the pain body is the part of us that's our wounded inner child that's full of pain and gets triggered based on a variety of things that happen in our world as adults. And our pain body and our ego kind of work together as best friends that make bad choices. So that's basically the analogy I would give. So the beginning of freedom from the pain body, remember, our wounded inner child that gets triggered is the pain body, essentially. Oh, okay. Here we've got Debbie coming in. Pause. Let's see. Okay, perfect. If anybody else wants to join on Zoom, just grab the
there we go.
Hopefully this will work this time, Debbie.
Yeah. It works.
Okay. For now. If anybody else wants to join on Zoom, just grab the link in the chat. And here we go. All right. So I'm trying to manage several things at once here. So just bear with me, y'all. All right. So the beginning of freedom from the pain body lies first of all in the realization that you have a pain body. So that was chapter 5. Then more important, in your ability to stay present enough, alert enough to notice the pain body in yourself as a heavy influx of negative emotion when it becomes active. When it is recognized, it can no longer pretend to be you and live and renew itself through you. It is your conscious presence that breaks the identification with the pain body. Good morning, Mandy. Good morning, Lori. So everybody say hello. And I just want to say, I say this every time. This person, Mandy, this is my niece. She gave me this book in 2014. And as you can see, it was worth every penny. And it changed my life. And here we are all these years later. So I'm happy you're here, Mandy, and always grateful. Debbie, what did you think about breaking free?
It felt good. It felt like, oh, finally there's some hope. We can get beyond this.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I can breathe now. And that happened like at the very last few pages. I thought, oh my God, finally.
You know, it's amazing that I meet so many people, as you can imagine, through my life that all are on a journey at a different time. Like some people are on their journey, their spiritual in their teens and 20s. And some people are in their 70s and 80s. And it's amazing how when it's time, and then it comes. And I love that it hit you like that. Finally, I'm free.
And it's been in fits and starts my whole life, because when I was in my 20s, I was searching for a religion. I followed the Buddhists, I followed Presbyterians, I followed everybody, and then it stopped. And then in my 40s, I did another thing. And then, here I am, whatever I am, 70 something, 78 maybe, I don't know. And it's like, oh, finally, I'm awake. And
Isn't
it's
it
not so
beautiful?
much that I have a pain body, but it's the identification with it. If I just don't have to identify with it or let that identification go, breathe.
Exactly. You observe it and you're like, okay, that's the hurt part of me. That's the hurt part of me. I'm going to put that over there. I love, of course, as I've said, I've read this book 1,000 times, but it hit me differently last night when I was reviewing the title Breaking Free. And that's the thing with this book. You read it over and over, and every time you read it, you get little different pieces out of it. Mm-hmm. And it's going to make me cry, like breaking free. It's so liberating, like, oh my God, I don't have to be trapped in what other people think of me. I don't have to be trapped in people pleasing. I don't have to be trapped in the story that I'm telling myself or others are telling about me, right? I can be the true core of who I am. And it's a process. Good morning, Vivian. Good morning, Katniss. It is a process, right? Like if anybody wants to join on Zoom, click the link in the chat. I'm assuming all you had to do is click the link, right, Debbie?
Right. Yeah, you just click and keep clicking. It works.
Keep clicking until you get here.
Yeah, until you get it.
Okay. So the pain body is something that feeds on negative emotions, right? So that's because it's the wounded inner child, essentially. It's not exactly, but that's for today's purposes. It's like our wounded inner child. The wounded person inside of us is the pain body, and it gets triggered. And when we should think about how do we recognize it? You already mentioned, Debbie, but anybody listening, how do you recognize when you get triggered, maybe in a discussion with somebody, maybe the news, maybe somebody sends you a text and you're like, tell everybody, let me know what brings up your pain body stuff for you. And Lori said, this chapter helped me understand more my mom's reactions to simply issue as big crisis and causing panics. Right, exactly. People have big reactions to things that the reaction doesn't match the problem, right? Very overly make a big deal out of something very small. That's a very big part of the ego and the pain body, because they love each other. They're best friends. They're best friends. They want to get filled up with all that negative energy.
It's like when I want to argue with somebody says something and I want to go, and it's like, no, let go, step back, recognize it for what it is, and accept it.
Yes.
It makes me go back to the serenity prayer.
Yes. Yes. It's wonderful. If anybody, you know, right? I learned it when my bunch of my family members got into recovery, and that we learned the prayer. It's a beautiful prayer, and it's so true when you break it down and think about it. To discerning, right?
Discern the difference. Yeah.
What else was I going to say? I don't remember. It just went right out of my head. I was going to say something else. So bringing awareness to the pain body weakens its control. And this is true for yourself and for your relationships with other people. When you recognize that this person over here is acting out of their pain body, and you don't react in a dysregulated way to this person over here, when you just stay calm and breathe. And of course, if it's an abusive situation, that's a totally different story, right? But I'm just talking about regular people getting in regular arguments and overreacting to things, like Lori's example with her mom. If you just stay present in the moment, and there's a great story I talked about, I don't know if we got to the chapter yet, I can't remember, where Eckhart Tolle has this neighbor lady come over and she's all upset and she's got all these papers and she's putting all these papers in and she's talking.
Yeah, it's in here.
And she's talking in chapter 5. Was it chapter?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought we had already covered it. And she's putting all the
6.
papers.
It's in there. We just read it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So perfect timing. Perfect timing. She's putting all these papers everywhere. She's all the lawyers and the legal and the this and the whatever and blah, 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 blah. And he's just staying there in the present moment. And he's just staying present. He doesn't interact with her. He doesn't react to anything she's saying. And then the next day she comes back and says, "What did you do to me?" She says, well, he goes, "I didn't do anything." Because he didn't feed into her mania. He didn't. Go ahead.
I thought she said, none of this really matters. She stopped and caught herself. And she said, this isn't anything, is it?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So she did.
Yeah, she caught it.
Right. She caught it. And then didn't she come back the next day and say, "What did you do to me?" or something to that effect? Yes. Okay. I thought so. I just couldn't remember if I was remembering that right.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do. So we all have relationships with people in some capacity, whether it's family, friends, romantic partners, where they go through phases when their pain body gets activated. And it could be every 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is. Okay. But you can feel it coming on. When you're in a close relationship with someone, you can feel their moods changing and coming on, and you know their patterns. You get to know their patterns. And so if you start to feel the person in your life who's about to get activated, stay present in the moment. Don't interact with them. Don't feed into it. Don't allow yourself to get drug into their pain body, because pain bodies of person A and pain bodies of person B really love getting excited. I've had people in my life that I've had knockdown, drag out, screaming, not physical fights, but screaming matches, because I'm trying to prove my point is right and you're trying to prove your point is right, and I want you to be wrong and you want me to be wrong, and it's screaming and yelling and totally out of control. I can't believe I lived like that for a long time. Now I have a very different vibe thanks to this book and therapy. I don't allow myself to get drawn into things like that. If someone in my life wants to get activated, I remove myself from the situation. And I don't, and if I can't, for whatever reason the circumstances are, I just don't interact with their aggravation of their pain body. I just stay calm and I breathe and I don't feed into it. Vivian said, may sound crazy, but I'm almost thankful for my pain body and being able to recognize it. Right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's part of our evolution. It's definitely part of our evolution as a human, biologically and physiologically, and as a soul, right? So it's threefold. It's got several purposes. The pain body was probably an evolutionary part of our amygdala, the primitive part of our brain, in the back here. That primitive fight or flight part of our brain probably is where, the pain body originated, because we used to have to run away from creatures. Now we don't really have to do that as much, but that part of the brain is still there.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes we still have to run away from creatures.
True. Speaking of that, Lori said, would you say the current political climate is caused by the pain body and these radicals hurting so many? 100%. And I've mentioned that before, and it mentions it in the book. And this book was written way before this political climate, but he points it out very specifically that there's a collective pain body politically, religiously, culturally, in different parts of our society. And it gets activated and triggered. And I've said it many times. Deep quote from Deepak Chopra, hate is a cry for love. So all of these people who are being cruel to others, all of these people who are trying to take rights away from others, all of these people who are trying to suppress others or put them in a box, literally, or zip tying 6 and 8-year-olds, they're all having a collective pain body experience because anybody that has any love and compassion and empathy in their heart would never work for that type of job, administration, belief system. There's two sides. Yes, Lori, we are at a tipping point. It's got to go one way or the other. And today there's going to be some crazy stuff today. My prediction is there's going to be some weird stuff at some of these No Kings marches today. There's going to be not on the side that's peacefully protesting, on the side that wants to stop them from peacefully protesting. And I think it's going to be interesting to watch the news throughout the day, and it'll be all over social media. But it is a collective pain body. It's like a cult mentality. So cults and cult-like organizations bring people in who are weak-minded, like the stormtroopers in Star Wars. In the very first Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi waves his hand and says, "You don't. These aren't the droids you're looking for, right?" And he says, "The Force only works on the weak-minded." Well, stormtroopers were brainwashed. They were weak-minded, and there's a lot of brainwashed and weak-minded people who are just looking to belong because they want love. And that's the whole problem. They want to be part of something. They want to feel loved, and they don't. And so that's why all of this is happening, my opinion. If anybody else has anything they want to add, go for it. But yes, it's a collective pain body. Oh, that's the next point on my notes. So I can skip that. That's funny, Laura, because that was my next bullet point. Triggers and reactivity. What kind of situations trigger your emotional pain body? How can awareness create a pause before reaction? So that's a good one. I mentioned it a little bit before. I get something that triggers me is, certain phrases people say. I used to be very reactive to them. And I've had to pause and rewire my brain and be like Mel Robbins says, let them be, let them do, let them whatever they're going to do, but let me pause and reflect and not react. So anybody have anything to add to that? Okay, let me know in the chat. And if Aunt B is here, let me know, Aunt B, if you're here, because I need to talk to you offline. Gina said, I try very hard to not be reactive even when serious situations happen. Yeah, it's good to maintain some sense of calm. Right. Lori said the thought that peaceful protests are anti-American. Well, that's how authoritarianism digs their heels in, right? Because they want to take away the rights of people to protest, which is our First Amendment, right? Right to free speech, right to peacefully protest. Gina, that's why I clench my jaw so much. So soften your jaw, soften your shoulders. You can still be in peace and calm without clenching, because the clenching is you holding it in. And what you want to do is release it without reactivity. So you breathe in through your nose, breathe in the positive, breathe out the negative. Some people say I like to say I bring in all the light and energy from the universe through the top of my head. If I see a tree or a sun ray or the grass, something in nature, I just like open this portal in my mind's eye, coming through the top of my head, and then any negativity going out through the bottom of my feet. But clenching your jaw is holding it in, and you don't want to hold it in. Holding it in can cause aches, pains, and diseases to manifest. So you want to soften your jaw and release it. Release it in some way. Maybe artwork. Maybe go to one of those places where they throw axes or destroy furniture. There's these places where you can do that. Scream places where you can go scream, just to release the energy out of your body so it doesn't get stuck in there. Okay, so the ego merges with the pain body because they're best friends and makes it part of who we think we are. So how can we separate our identity from our emotional pain? So identifying with our ego and our pain body is something we have to start observing and not reacting to. So how can we separate our identification with it from our emotional pain? Yeah, Lori said, let them. Yep, exactly. So what do you guys think? How can we separate our identity that we identify with, our pain body, our ego, from our emotional pain? What do you think the solution is to that? You got anything, Debbie?
Well, I'm just thinking you have to recognize that it is the pain body.
Right.
Recognition is the first part.
Yes.
And then somehow or other step back from it.
Yes.
But I'm not sure what you're asking or what I'm supposed to say.
You say whatever you want. Say whatever. How can we separate? So you're absolutely correct. Recognizing it. The recognition is where the separation happens. So you can observe, this is my pain body being triggered. This is my pain body being triggered. I do have emotional pain from this. That's why I'm being triggered. So the reactivity, the emotional response to the pain body, observe that and don't react, crazily or out of control, or dysregulated. But then the emotional pain is something, depending on what it is, right? So if you're a person who has PTSD from being in a war zone, that emotional pain is very real, and you should probably seek some counseling by a specific type of counselor who can help you deal with PTSD from being deployed to Afghanistan, right? Like that's a specific thing. You don't just want any old therapist to do that. So that emotional pain is real, but recognizing that you're triggered by a car backfiring on the city street in New York, recognize it and separate the two and say, okay, I'm not going to overreact. I'm going to breathe through it. And I am not minimizing anybody's PTSD.
Right.
At all. I'm going to breathe through it. But then also you have to get real good professional help. And I know that's really hard because so many cuts have been made for our soldiers, especially our soldiers who return and leave the military. There's so few resources. So maybe find a, place that does pro bono work, or there's other organizations that can help fund it. That's a whole other subject for a different day, right? We have a lot of stuff going on in this country that we need to address. Aunt B, if you're here, let me know. If you're watching the replay, please email me. I have to talk to you offline about some stuff that we talked about last night. Lori Moore said, when you know better, you do better. And this is the subject of this brings up the subject of my live stream on Wednesday, coming up Wednesday, with Aunt Jen about shame. A lot of us feel like when we learn something new and we do better, we have shame that we didn't do better sooner. So if you're interested in that, Wednesday morning, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, I'll be live with Aunt Jen talking about that very thing. We're mean to ourselves and we carry a lot of shame. And if you can't watch it live, just watch the replay. That would be great. All right. So did that make sense? Did my answer make sense about separating the stuff? Okay. So healing through presence. The author, Eckhart Tolle, emphasizes that presence, staying conscious in the now. And if you haven't read The Power of Now, that's a very good book that came before A New Earth. The power of presence, being in the now, transforms pain into awareness. And awareness is the biggest part, becoming aware. So what do you guys do to become aware and recognize your triggers or your pain? Vivian said, we need to be able to stop and look internally. Are we going to feed into the external craziness or realize our internal power? Appreciate our glasses are half full and not half empty. Yes. And that's the key. Nice. Yeah. Vivian, she's one of my mentees. She's wonderful. She's going light speed with her growth. I love it. This is it. Realize our internal power. Realize our internal power. You need to copyright that, Vivian. That needs to go on a shirt. Realize your internal power. Realize your internal power. Like, we have so much more power than we think because we've been told we don't have any choices. We've been told we don't have any power. We have the power to do any and everything that is needed for us in many different ways. Not just, I'm not talking about manifesting a mansion. I'm talking about becoming at peace with who you are, accepting who you are, letting other people be who they are, being present in the moment and aware. And that gives you power, because once you master to a certain degree the techniques of recognizing and becoming aware and observing your triggers, your pain body, your ego, once you have somewhat of a handle on that, you become free. And that's the title of this chapter, Breaking Free. And you're not afraid that anybody else is going to take control over you, because most of us in some way are controlled by family members, friends, partners, cultural things, belief systems, religious belief systems. There's so many things that control us. The media, the news media, social media posts. Women, for example, we get bombarded with, you got to be skinny, pretty, you got to work, you got to be a mom, but you still got to be skinny and pretty. You got to work and be a mom and do the dishes and do the laundry, but don't forget to be skinny and pretty. Don't forget to wear those special shoes or that makeup or have your hair a certain way. And don't forget, you got to be skinny and pretty. You got to be sexy or you're not going to get a man. We are controlled not only by external groups and organizations, but by our own mind, that we're creating a story. You have to be perfect or nobody's going to love you. You have to be chosen to be worthy. And that is what we women, now I can't speak for men, that's a different story. I'm not a man, so I don't know, but I know they're also bombarded with stuff too. You don't have to be chosen by a special partner and have a fancy wedding to be worthy. You are worthy by the mere fact that you're alive and breathing on this earth. Everyone is worthy of love. Everyone is worthy of acceptance. So just had to say that. When we recognize, Vivian said, when we recognize our power and appreciate what we do have, we raise the overall vibration. I used to be a news junkie, same. I only read headlines just to have basic awareness of what's going on now. Same. Thank you. I hope I caught the mute button in time. Oh, but I have the Zoom on too. So
It's all right.
Hubby and I have been a little under the weather this week. We're trading colds back and forth. Vivian, we are chosen when we choose ourselves first. Stop giving away our power. 100%. Amen. 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 If I was in church, I'd be like, amen, girl. That is so true. So true. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. All right. So anything else, Debbie, or anybody else before I go to the next bullet point? I know this book is heavy, and you know what I realized? After this, there's chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10. There's only 10 chapters. So we're gonna wrap this up right before Thanksgiving. And I want to do the next book I want to do is the 4 Agreements. This, most of you, if you have Eckhart Tolle, twinsies.
It's the cards.
Oh, I love it. The 4 Agreements is also life-changing.
See the cards?
Yes, I love it.
Have little.
Oh,
I love those. Every day I pick them.
So we'll have the 4 Agreements. So this A New Earth will be done about the 3rd week or so of November. And then this book will take us through the half of December. So you will all be prepared to deal with your crazy ass families over the holidays. You will have the tools between these 2 books to get through, because what happens over the holidays? All our pain bodies get triggered like heck. Because families are really bizarre. And they get
all our shit comes to the surface.
Because why? Our pain bodies get triggered.
Yeah.
Because she said, he said, they said, wait, we did. No, we didn't. No. That didn't happen that way. It did happen that way. I don't like you because you blah, blah, blah. You da, 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 da. You know, all the stuff bubbles up to the surface. And this is perfect timing for the holidays. We all have pain bodies. We all have egos. Everybody's family is dysfunctional to some degree. And everybody's got a little hidden resentment, or a little anger, or gossip that swirled around a big story that isn't really real. Some little tiny comment was made into a big giant. That was the thing in my blended family, with my dad and stepmom and stepsisters. One little comment would be made. There were 7 siblings that kind of were all living around each other at the same time, 2-step, 5 bio. And one little comment would be made by somebody that meant something different, but the family would go into some type of crazy upheaval and make it into a giant story of something it never meant. And back in the day, before I read this beautiful book, I'd get all upset and worked up and embroiled, and, you know, depending on what side I was on. So, Vivian, 100%. Please don't feel obligated to attend family gatherings. So many people do feel obligated. They feel, I have to. No, you don't. And that's where breaking free comes from. This is what's important, breaking free. You can break free. If you feel nauseous or anxious or like you are going into a spiral of depression because in a week or a month you're going to have to see family members, don't go see those people. Because if you're that upset that early, I call it the pre-post trauma before the re-trauma, right? You're pre-traumatized by being post-traumatized, then you're going to get re-traumatized. This happened to a friend of mine in the last month. She was so nauseous for a week and then found out the day she was supposed to see the family, it was the next week. So she had to go through another week and finally said
I
no.
wouldn't go.
Yeah, well, she didn't. She didn't.
Good.
She broke free finally. I was so proud of her. She broke free finally. And guess what happened? Oh,
What?
the story, the big, oh my God. Oh, big story. You hurt my feelings. Oh, you didn't. You've got to give me more information. I don't understand. Like, no, I don't. You hurt my feelings. Blah, blah, blah. Don't feel obligated to attend family gatherings. Do not. If you feel so upset and sick, don't go do it. And you don't have to explain anything, because any explanation you give, if they're that dysfunctional, is going to get turned into a whole big story. Let them make up a story. Who cares? Let them, right? Mel Robbins, let them. I try to give credit to the quotes I copy because, as a teacher for so long, hang out with yourself first. Yeah. Or have a Friendsgiving. My husband and I spent many years far away from our kids, where we had holidays, the day of the holidays, just us. And we just go do something special together because our sons are living with their wives and they were far away or traveling with other family members or whatever. And we just made time to see them another day and didn't get all worked up and crazy about it, because when you get married, you have other family you want to be with. And so now all of our family's close enough that we can have holidays together. The family we created, not our family of origin. But we're okay. We can hang out together. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Stay Tuned said, I used to have a great aunt who would ask who was overweight that year. When are you going to lose weight? Listen, I have a story. I didn't see my dad and stepmom for many, many years because we lived across the country and dysfunctional family. I went to Christmas at my dad's about 7 or 8 years ago, 10 maybe, I don't know. And I have Hashimoto's disease, and I used to be very thin and very athletic and always in shape. Well, since Hashimoto's disease, I could starve myself and run 20 miles a day and never lose a pound, right? That's just
you gain weight. Yeah.
Right. And actually you do gain weight when you do that.
Right.
And a person in my family, I was drinking a Coca-Cola, not diet, because I think diet's terrible. Like, it tastes awful. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
All day long, this person who is not thin berated me for drinking Coke. He said, if you stop drinking Coke, you will lose weight. And I explained 20 times that's not accurate. I didn't drink 20 Cokes. I had like a Coke with my food, right? And I'm like, I could take more thyroid medicine, but that would give me a heart attack, right? You can only take so much. I said, and I only drink a Coke like if I'm out to eat at a restaurant, or like here you had Cokes, right? Like, I'm not chugging it all day. She had her own insecurities about her body. She was projecting onto me. My husband loves me. He's seen me through all the phases of, skinny to not skinny to 9 months pregnant. And, he loves me either way. Thank God. Because some men don't. But it's like, why do you care what I weigh? Why don't you worry about what you weigh? I'm very healthy. And my A1C is 5.4 for anybody. That's the other thing people have.
What's yours? Yeah.
What's
turn
your
around to her and say,
A1C?
What's your
Yeah.
A1C?
Yeah. If I had any problems, my A1C would be way higher than that. That's for pre-diabetes, everybody.
Yeah.
If you don't know what A1C is, mine's perfect. Lori said before, during, and after effect. Yes, the pre-trauma, the post pre-trauma, and the re-trauma. Ask her when she's going to start using her brain before speaking. Exactly. We all had to be respectful, even if she wasn't. See, that, oh yes, thank you. I do have a great hubby. We'll be married 30 years in May. I don't subscribe to this. I think I talked about this last night. Somebody said something similar on my live, and I'm like, I don't know if it was my members only or my other live, but they're like, you know, you have to be respectful, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't subscribe to that at all. If somebody's disrespectful to me, I don't have to be respectful to you. Like, why?
You can walk away.
Yeah, I can't. No. Lori said, do you think judging everyone is a product of being a byproduct? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And judgment is of the ego. And when you're judged so long, your whole life, everybody's judged. Everybody's judging. My husband and I have a code word. When one of us recognizes the other one saying something judgmental, we just say, observe, just observe it. Just observe it. That's our code word. Now, of course, we're both on a healing journey. We both were traumatized from our families of origin, and that's been hard. And being married this long, it's been lots of therapy, lots of books. So, but yes, we are judging others because we were taught how to behave. We were taught, ooh, if you gossip with me and judge somebody else, we can be close and we can be friends. Instead, yeah, that's how some families are. You don't realize it, but you're in the middle of gossiping with somebody and you're like, if I talk about anything that's not gossip, these people aren't interested in having a conversation with me. You know, and that's how you know. When I talk about, you know, back in the day, I'd be talking about science because love science and I think it's important. People would be like, "Oh, you're such a nerd. You're so weird." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a weird nerd. You're boring." There's other things to talk about. Not that I didn't engage in gossip. I am not saying that at all. I've had my day for sure. Vivian said, we have to because society conditioned us that way. Exactly. We don't know that we can break free, but that's what we're doing now. We're breaking free together in this community. Vivian said, call your rude aunt out with a smile and she wouldn't know how to take it. Oh, yes, I'm the queen of being able to do that. In a way, you help her realize her rudeness is a form of love. Don't need to be mean or loud. Maybe I don't understand. Her rudeness is a form of love.
Yeah.
Maybe restate that. My sister taught me this years ago, and she didn't even remember it until I reminded her. She said, so there's this thing called the sandwich method in therapy where you compliment, you tell the serious statement, and then you compliment, right? And my sister told me a long time ago, she said, you compliment somebody at the grocery store and then you hit them with the grocery cart. As her way of saying, to use the sandwich method, you know, say something nice and then you hit them with the info. Oh. So, okay. So they're taught, see, call your, okay. Lori said, always being criticized forces us to think it's normal behavior to pick apart others, somehow makes us feel better. And that's exactly why Aunt Jen and I are going to talk about this subject Wednesday morning, because we get so used to being in a certain type of family dynamic, relationship dynamic, that we don't notice that it's dysfunctional until we have access to other people. And then we're like, oh my God, this is not normal. We've got to break free from this. When Viv, I was a kid, but she always picked on the same people. I felt so bad. Yeah, she sounds like a real piece of work.
Right.
Vivian, I meant help her aunt recognize her being rude to people is not the way to go. Yeah, I knew that's what you meant, Vivian. I knew you didn't mean how it sounded. I knew that's what you meant. Whenever we would try, she would turn her hearing aid up so it would screech. And I said, wow. She sounds like she had a very big pain body. So once you realize all of these things about people, you see things from their perspective, and everything just shifts, and you're like, oh, I don't have to be hateful or mean or mad anymore. I can understand how they are, and I can deal with it accordingly, not letting anyone be rude or abuse you. Stand up for yourself always. You can always tell people, put up boundaries with people diplomatically in a loving way without being rude or mean or disrespectful, but you can still share how you feel. Lori, this is true. Who hurt you is the way to approach them. Yeah, I saw that somewhere on a podcast or something. That's so true. You always keep in mind who hurt you. And I learned this as a teacher because I was a classroom teacher for 20 years. And I would always think, oh, these kids who act so crazy, who hurt them? So next, relationships are mirrors. Relationships often reflect back our own unconscious pain and ego patterns. And we've talked a lot about that. Everybody who is judging you, everybody who is mean to you, rude to you, criticizing you, they're judging themselves. You see in others, the thing you hate in others is what you hate about yourself. And when you keep that in perspective, everything everybody else does is because of them, not because of you. For the most part. I mean, obviously there are special circumstances, but for the most part, like the person who was telling me about, if you drink Cokes, you're going to get fatter. Like, yeah, no, I'm an educated woman. I know how many calories is in a Coke.
Sorry.
I used to have I had acne really bad as a teenager, and I mean, bad acne. And there weren't the type of treatments then that there are now. And I had people in my life that would say, you have a huge pimple on your face. Like, no, I didn't notice that when I looked in the mirror this morning. Like, come on now. But that's because they were insecure about themselves. So relationships are mirrors. So think about what's the difference between accepting pain consciously versus suppressing or indulging it. So you don't want to suppress your pain and be toxically positive, I talked about this in the podcast that was released yesterday morning. If you want to watch it, it's on YouTube and everywhere else. We talked about toxic positivity. So we're not talking about in this book and in this book club, just putting your pain in a box and forgetting about it and just being happy every day. Like, that's not right. You don't want to suppress it. You don't want to indulge it and turn it into something else, like an addiction of some kind, which most addicts. Go ahead.
He says on page 184, accepting means you allow yourself to feel whatever it is you are feeling at that moment.
Yes, that's so true.
Yeah.
You have to feel it. You have to feel. Oh, yeah, I have the same. Well, most of the books highlighted, but I have the
same thing.
Yeah, I have a little star by it. You have to allow yourself to feel it. It's part of the isness of now. You can't argue with what is. You can, but if you do, you suffer. Through allowing, you become what you are, vast and spacious. You become whole. You are not a fragment anymore. And I don't remember reading that before. You are not a fragment anymore. We are all living as we're fragments, pieces. No, we're whole beings. Accept that you are a whole being. Do not let anybody else hold you down. Ooh, I get excited.
Well, keep reading because
the
part about Jesus. Yeah.
You are not a fragment anymore, star, which is how the ego perceives yourself. Your true nature emerges, which is one with the nature of God. Jesus points to this when he says, "Be ye whole, even as your Father in heaven is whole." The New Testament's "be ye perfect" is a mistranslation.
That's not true.
The knowing needs to be followed by accepting. That's something I wrote down in here. I don't know if I read that somewhere else. The knowing needs to be followed by accepting. I don't know when I wrote it, but I wrote it in here at some point. Where it came from, I don't know. But that's right. No fragments. Use it to be better. Yes, yes, yes. Keeping it all inside will kill you, as it did my sister. Yeah. Keeping it all inside, clenching your jaw, like we talked about earlier, all you're doing is suppressing it. You can release it in a healthy way without letting it manifest into further disease, which is, it's a process. Healing is forever. We're always healing. We're either healing or avoiding healing, right? There's no other road. You're either doing it or you're not. Don't be a fragment. That just hit me really in a different way than it did before. You become whole. You are not a fragment anymore. And we are taught that we're fragments by the people in our lives, especially by narcissistic, egotistical, toxic people. They want us to be fragments because they want to feed off of us. They want to feed off of our insecurities. I'm talking about dysfunctional people, of course. Lori said, God don't make junk. We are all perfect and whole. Yes, that's right. Pain can become fuel for awakening, which is what happened to Eckhart Tolle. That's his whole backstory. Pain is what caused my awakening. Anybody else have an awakening because of their past pain? Let me know. Debbie, how'd you get to your awakening?
No idea.
Okay. Just let me know in the chat. My awakening was definitely from my past pain and trying to deal with it. I've told the story many times, but I come from a very toxic and dysfunctional family. So the next week will be chapter 7, finding who you truly are. Love it. So this week, be mindful, do your 3 deep breaths, stay in the present moment, observe your emotions, observe when you want to be reactive, unclench your jaw, do things to positively enhance your life. Don't hold the negative emotions, release them in some healthy way. You can journal. Again, you can go to those axe throwing places or those places where you bash the furniture if you feel like you want to do that.
Or you can go hug a tree.
Hug a tree. Trees are so majestic and present. So you see, I like the presence of plants.
A lot of green stuff. Yeah.
Vivian said, same here. Felt like I was going to lose it a few months ago. It suppresses everything by letting it roll off my back. Later, I went through a massive depression. Yes. Oh, you suppress. Okay, I misread that. Vivian, I was lucky enough to have a high awareness of my emotional states, which got me seeking out ways to look at life spiritually. Exactly. And I think there's a certain innateness to that. Some, like Debbie said, she has no idea what started her journey. It was innate. It was something in you that kept you on this path. We can't explain it. There's no, it's our soul contract or whatever, however you want to define it. Something in us causes certain people to want to awaken.
Well, it's like what you said about a minute ago. You said, if you're not working on it, you're, I don't know, something.
You're either
It's like-
healing, you're either on a healing
Yeah.
journey or you're not.
Or you're stuck.
You
Yeah.
just, there's
Yeah.
no other way,
Yeah.
you know.
I think that's what I have always felt. It's like whatever knocks you down or knocks me down or whatever, it's like, all right, get up. Like Abraham Lincoln said, you can be just about as happy as you want to be and put one foot in front of the other and start doing something that's better for you today than yesterday, you know?
Agree. You know, we may get knocked down for a day or two or a few days, but we have no choice but to get back up.
Right.
We, you know, there's no just laying down and giving up. Like in my world, like I might have a bad day, but I'm going to be fire and brimstone the next day. Lori said her son is taking her to a rage room. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. And
what do you do there?
That's where you like break the furniture with big hammers and stuff.
Okay.
So I would probably break my shoulder or something, or an elbow. I don't have my body's not.
I put pictures of somebody on a dartboard, throw darts at them.
Yeah, that's another way to do it, right? That's another, yeah, get it out. All right, y'all, next week, finding who you truly are. We'll be back next week. I'm going to go pump up on some vitamins right now and have a good lunch. And I'm glad you're all here in this little community. It's important.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. It's my pleasure. Watch the news for any, don't watch the news, but look out for any craziness from today. I hope it's all peaceful. I hope there's no drama, but I have a bad feeling that this administration is not happy with the No Kings protest. You're welcome.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
About something? Why are people dressing in frogs?
I don't know.
Understand that.
I'm not paying attention enough to the news to know. It means something, but I don't know what it means. I don't know.
The only thing I can think of is if you kiss a frog, they turn into a king, like in Shrek.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out if I find out before my next live, or I'll mention it on the next live.
Okay.
Lori said to look innocent. Okay. I rest up. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'll go enjoy a Coke.
There you go.
I rarely drink them, only if I'm at a restaurant, and I'm at home most of the time. So it's just, thanks, Vivian. Thanks for your support. All right, everyone, sending you love and peace, and have a great weekend. Enjoy the fall weather wherever you are. And I will see you hopefully Monday morning for meditation.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.